This week in car audio. Tune in, tune in, tune in, tune in, tune in. This week in car audio. Tune in, tune in, tune in, tune in. We'll be talking about bass, talking about chips, talking about rings. You ain't got them, zip your lip. You got a problem you haven't found, check your grounds. The show about to start. Tune in, tune in, tune in, tune in, tune in, tune in. Tune in, tune in, tune in, tune in, tune in. This week in car audio. Yeah. Tune in. This week in car audio.
Welcome to This Week in Car Audio with your host, the Judge, Doug Stockton, co-hosted by the movie star. We just talked about how he got on the SAG, or he became a SAG member, Jeffrey Fernandez. What's going on, Jeffrey?
Hey, what's going on, Doug? Nobody needs to know how I got into SAG, all right? So well, let's just leave it at that. But I'm doing all right, Doug. How are you?
I am doing just fine. I am going. We're live on YouTube and we're live on Facebook now. Just give me a quick second. Did you have a show coming up, or you did a show last weekend? What was going on? So I can start sharing this.
I got a show coming up this Sunday. This Sunday, March 12th at 12 p.m. Going to be at Crossfire headquarters in Grapevine, Texas. It's going to be a triple point event. So if you guys need points for finals, because it's never too early to get points, coming out to the show. Base race, top dog action is really heating up. We got a few competitors out there that are just like solely base race and top dog now, which kind of reminds me of the Tennessee base racer guys. So
yeah,
hopefully we'll get that show going here pretty soon. Oh, and I just added on the calendar. It's going to be Saturday, April 1st. It's not an April Fool's joke. It's April 1st. I'm going to be back in Cali with the SoCal guys, Gorilla Hertz and friends. Let me get this right. It's Gorilla Hertz, Team Space for Base, which we all know, Moses and company. We got Team Aftershock and Team Mexico. They're all putting in on this triple point event going on in Bloomington, California. That's kind of Inland Empire, just kind of east of LA. But it's going to be a demo-friendly venue, so I've been told. It's going to be in a cul-de-sac industrial area. You guys don't have to worry about getting shut down and all. That's what they tell me anyway. But it's also they told me that they're going to have demos and tacos. So what more do you want?
Yeah.
So again, that's going to be Saturday, April 1st in SoCal. Check out all these events on dbdragracing.com on the calendar.
Yeah, speaking of which, I just posted like 12 or 13 events today, as a matter of fact.
I saw that. You can make the Texas guys envy.
I know. I got to go back to this thing here. California bowlers. Yeah, they get mad. They get mad when I they're not in Sonic effects. Yeah, they get mad when I post in the California Bowlers Tour the my live feed. They kind of freak out about that. Oh, it didn't post. Good. All right. Anyway, yeah, so I posted a bunch of shows today. Dave Bradshaw says, "What's up?" Tiffany and Tristan out of Bridgetown, Barbados. That's pretty cool. I see Doug still has this little Asian dude for child labor. Also, the guys in the middle look familiar. Calvin popping in. Day of the show, Jeff's going to say April Fool's, no show. So
no,
you wouldn't do that.
No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't fly all the way out to California just to do that.
Yeah. So before, let's do some quick house cleaning. We did the drawing earlier today, and Clayton Edberg is the winner of our giveaway this week. His YouTube name is Vehicle Vlogs. So we'll be trying to get a hold of him. So if you're in here, Clayton Edberg, get with us. It says Calvin says you're flying out to see him.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. So yeah, so Clayton Edberg, you are the winner of this week's raffle in This Week in Car Audio. So
Yeah.
congratulations, sir. Okay, cleared all that out. All right. The next thing I have to do, I wanted to talk to you a little bit. I did put up all my shows. I got Autoramas on there now. Wayne and Celise are going to switch those to a 5X weekend, 2X on Saturday, 3X on Sunday. You were talking about you might head out here for that.
Yeah.
Shoot, that's the wrong button. Oh, there we go. That's the button I was looking for. There's that. There's that. Cool. Now I can see all my stuff. What did Clayton win, Jeffrey?
He won a DB Drag Racing DB Jams Volume 21 CD. With all these really cool tracks on the back. A must if you guys are competing. It's got the boom checks on here. It's got the frequencies. He's also got this DB Drag Racing Frisbee, right? This weekend we're gonna try to see if we could float a Frisbee in somebody's demo car. So be on the lookout for that.
One more quick little thing too I want to mention. If you guys saw on my Facebook post in Sonic FX, my sister-in-law had passed away on Thursday, 44 years old, left 3 kids behind. Her youngest daughter, I believe, is in 2nd grade or 1st grade or something like that. She's a diabetic. But anyway, so she just suddenly had a seizure and passed away. So
sorry about that, man.
Couldn't revive her, and so the issue becomes her funeral happens to be next Monday when we are doing our judges thing. So Jeffrey's going to take over the show and take care of that. If you guys, any of you guys are interested, it's on my Sonic FX page. If you guys want to support her family at all, feel free to do that. No obligation by any means. I don't ever ask anybody. Thanks, Cal. Quite a few people reached out to my wife and our family and whatnot. My take on it is, and I get a lot of grief from my wife about this, is we all have to pass it someday. It's about the celebration of the life, not the death, that I'm interested in. So it's just the way I see it. Anywho, with all that being said, now let's get to this. Some of you guys may know our guest tonight. They are Spark Ed Innovations. No? It's Sparked Innovations. And it is Ed Lester and Rich. I tried saying it before and I knew I messed it up.
You can say Rich T if you want.
Yeah. Yeah, Rich T. There we go.
Rich
there you
T.
go.
So, Rich, so anyway, so they are Audio Innovations. They do custom products that may be interested. Rich and I had actually a talk on the phone, and I saw the product line that he had way more fit into marine audio, but they didn't see it that way, and he thought that was an interesting take. So I haven't looked at his products. I haven't talked to him about his products because me as a host, I want to see it with fresh eyes. He says, Calvin says, don't take Ed and Rich seriously without lab coats on.
Oh, no, that's right. Wear the lab coats and the glasses.
Yeah. So, so anyway, so I don't look too far into it or ask a lot of questions beforehand, just because I want to see this with fresh eyes, the same as one of our viewers may, and hopefully get answers, or because sometimes you don't ever know what you don't know, or what somebody else doesn't know, because you're so entrenched in what you do. So hopefully I can have a fresh look at what you guys are saying and maybe have some poignant questions that someone else might have that we didn't realize.
For sure.
So why don't you guys introduce yourselves, why we should have you on the show, who you are, and all that stuff.
Okay, well, this voice that you hear is Rich T, speaking from Sparked Innovations, and my partner is
Ed Lester, also from Sparked Innovations. Rich is more the go-to business guy, sales and all that. And I guess myself, I'm the tech guy behind
Okay.
everything. So
Yeah.
So what are your products based on and stuff like that? Tell us a little bit on that.
So the partnership started back in high school because I didn't know what a subwoofer was. So I asked Ed, and he told me what it was. And ever since, we've been friends.
Did he tell you it was an air pump?
No.
That's all it is. Am I wrong, Ed?
No, it's a piston.
That's right. It's just an air pump.
Yeah.
You're trying to
And
pump
That
air
lesson
with
came
it.
later.
Yeah.
Oh.
In high school, we drew a lot of pictures in our notebooks of what we wanted. I have huge diagrams of the old 90s Rockford amps on old Vega strokers and all that sort of thing, and I would show him all that kind of stuff of what I want to build someday, and I'm still building.
That's cool.
Yep. He had at the time he had an '87 Plymouth Duster with 6 Vega XL12s.
How did it get down the road? I mean, that all had all of what, 6 cylinders in it and a straight 6 in those
That
dusters?
was a 4-cylinder. That was
Oh,
probably
you had the 4-cylinder
96
one.
horsepower. Yeah.
Dude.
That was the 4-cylinder one with a huge box that was hundreds of pounds,
Yes.
So it was fun though.
Yes, it was.
First 150.
He pulls up outside as school's letting out, and I hear this bass coming from this vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
I remember sticking my head in the passenger side window, and he burped it, and my eyes were vibrating, and I think I was hooked from that day on.
Yeah.
So we've always wanted to start a business together. We just didn't know what it was going to be. We started in 2017, so we're just over 5 years, 5.5, I guess, in July. And we wanted to make a business where we could do fun stuff every day, where we can design and make car audio stuff that we would want to, put in our own cars.
Okay.
And it started because Ed has been a competitor and an installer for years. So his motivation was to make things that would make an installer's job easier. That's actually how we got started. You could talk a little bit about that if you'd like.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's not the full
real
case
quick.
with our products.
Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick, Calvin just says, Rich would love if y'all spoke to him while chewing chips. Weird, but he loves this.
Do I have chips
well,
here?
we're in the realm of audio, but Rich has misophonia. So
Oh, he
certain
does.
sounds
That's
trigger the
awesome.
anger response.
No, it's not awesome.
Dude, that's
It's
awesome.
not
So
awesome.
do you love the slurping soup?
You know what? It literally is instant anger. If I can
Yes.
describe it any other way, it's yeah.
It's like me listening to country music.
Yeah, you want to murder someone as soon as you hear
Yeah,
it.
I don't understand why, but country music just drives me nuts to the point of it actually makes me angry. And I listen to
alone.
thrash metal and gangster rap, right? And
Yeah.
and I'm totally cool with all that stuff. And then I listen to country music and I want to just mutilate somebody. Makes me want to
Yep.
take a shotgun to somebody's truck.
Maybe you
I don't
have
know.
misophonia. Who knows?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
so I saw the horns going on there with you, Rich. So.
Oh yeah.
So do you know who Hell Yeah and Anthrax are?
Of course.
Okay, so I just found out. Yeah, I mean, you guys don't listen to the show, but I just found out a couple weeks ago that I had a half sister. Her husband is the producer for Anthrax and Hell Yeah and Fuel and stuff like that. He actually has 6 Emmys for music he produces for different bands.
No way. Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the lead singer for Fuel was his best man at my sister and his wedding, and the bassist for Hell Yeah was singing karaoke with us while we were in Vegas a couple weeks ago.
Lucky duck, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I
closest-
just saw the horns. I was like, hey, I got something to talk to you about.
Yeah, the closest I could come to that is we opened for Joey Belladonna in 2006, I think it was, in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And he happened to be a Flyers fan, so we had a lot to talk about.
Well, you didn't tell people. So Rich is a metal drummer or ex-metal
Oh,
drummer, as
okay.
you say.
Oh,
And
okay,
I used to play
nice.
CDs.
Yeah.
Play
He
CDs.
used to play CDs.
Well, we used to play tapes.
No.
And then we got these
Oh,
really
yeah.
cool things in our cars where you push it and it flipped the tape over without even having to eject it. That was the
man.
crap. That was the shit, dude.
My first SPL show, I was still using tapes back then, a Clarion tape player.
So my first show, I
Wow.
wasn't using tapes. I was using a in-trunk CD changer with a cord that came all the way out front, and I was playing it on a freaking CD changer on that.
So wait, was it the CD changer that went to a cable that went to a cassette that went inside the cassette deck?
No. That was
modulator.
no that.
RF modulator, and you had the separate control.
So
Alright,
I
okay.
started competing in '98. So I didn't do that. But in '96, I absolutely had the Walkman with the cord to the cassette that went inside the
Man.
cassette.
Was that your first? Was that your first competition?
95.
95. Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they didn't have CDs out yet for any. DVD Drive wasn't even a thing yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. Nope. Next year it started, right?
Yeah,
So.
I was one of the first competitors. I signed up when they started.
Oh.
So I remember the year 2000 when they switched the competitor
sensors.
ID numbers to 2K.
Oh yeah.
2K,
Oh,
587,
okay.
whatever my.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
before that, I think it was just 000, whatever it was.
Yeah. So yours is probably and I know Jeffrey's is still the old numbers because they
The
didn't
00,
they
yeah.
whatever number you established is the same
Yeah.
number you always have.
Right. Okay.
So-
I haven't been active in a few years, so I don't even.
So if you were to reactivate yours, it would still be the old number.
Oh, nice.
There you
I
go.
think it's 587 is the. I forget. I have the card somewhere in a drawer. You know.
There you go. So I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just saw that and the music thing. Like I said, just so you guys also know, we on this show we are competition based, but we do care more about the whole person, and so we always love to know more about who you guys and what your background is. It's not just about how you competed and that you hit a number, right? So
Right.
that's why, like I said, when I went off a little bit there, it was more of that. So you're actually a trained drummer for metal bands. That's awesome.
Yeah, Dawn of Correction is the one band that I think videos are still up online that you might be able to find somewhere on.
So my brother-in-law's name is Eddie Wall, WOHL. So
Eddie Wall.
yeah, he
Okay.
does like the ESPN, the MLB, the da-na-na, da-na-na, I believe is one of his.
What?
Oh, no
You
way.
know, so
Yes.
I mean, I really need to sit down and talk to him. I've just known that he's my brother-in-law now since Super Bowl weekend. As a matter of fact, is when I found out. So
Oh, geez.
yeah, it's my half sister. My dad got a little frisky when he went AWOL from the military for a couple
Wow.
weeks, and so he didn't even know, And lo and behold, DNA says, "Guess what?
Wow.
You got a half sister.
Did Maury Povich come out with the card?
You are the father."
Oh, no.
So anyway, sorry about that. I didn't mean to pull off on that. I saw that, and like I said, I really like for everybody to understand the people behind what we're doing here.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Actually, when we first started talking, I thought it was going to be more about product. So I was trying to stray away from the background, the history, and that kind of thing.
No,
But,
we do want to talk about the products, obviously, because ultimately we would love to see drive people to your products, see what they are, and understand them, and possibly purchase them, and help grow your influence in the industry, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think one of the reasons you had said marine was because of the small gauge
Sizes.
wire input. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So to explain that a little bit, he was talking about the relay box.
Yeah,
yeah.
So tell us about that.
All right. So why did the relay box come to fruition?
Yes.
Why was it even an idea?
Okay, so one of our products is called the RBX4CH. It's a 4-channel relay box.
Mhm.
I was an installer since the mid 90s up into the 2000. I think I was at Circuit City until 2005. Then I took a few years off from professional installing, worked at another shop somewhere, was an on the road installer, blah, 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 all that. So one of the things I wanted to do when we were coming up with product ideas is we wanted to develop our own new original products. And one thing I always wanted to do what I did on my installs and customers'
Wow.
installs is I would make relay boards, right?
Okay.
And you take the standard automotive relays with pigtails and you wire them up to try and look clean. Well, I wanted to integrate that. I can do PCB design, so I decided instead of wires hanging off, why don't I have all that feed through a PCB, include fuses on the PCB, terminal distribution, all that sort of thing. And our first version was a 2-channel where actually we did the patent. I had to learn how to write patent stuff on my own, and it sucked. But
They have
but
lawyers for that, you know.
yeah, now we will do that. But it was for bipolar relay design that switched accepted positive and negative triggers and outputted positive and negative triggers. We through sales learned that that was cool but not necessary. So we came out with the 4-channel that is all positive triggers. So
Okay.
turning on things like cooling fans and LED strips, your amplifiers, remote turn on, it's all 12-volt turn on. That is galvanic isolation through the relay, diode isolation at multiple points, protected by fuse. And there's a lot of other like status LEDs and a lot of other things. So basically it's four relays all pre-wired to just have our switches that we also sell plug directly in and just give you one output to plug into your remote turn on or whatever it is.
Okay, so like I said, I don't know your product and I'm listening to you trying to understand it. So is this a product that would go, your remote turn on would go to it? It would be, say, you would have triggers on your dash. You'd flip on whatever you want, if you want to flip on amps, whatever you want, and then that would send the remote turn on signal to a multitude of different products in line.
And we give you options. It can be triggered by a positive, like a remote turn on from the head unit or ignition, or you can just plug in our switch and just use a switch. So you don't have to wire up the switch. It just plugs directly, and we offer cables to allow that.
Okay. So is this a product that could possibly, when people have remote turn on pop,
there you go.
right? When you have turn on pop, would
Right.
this eliminate that turn on pop? Because I used to be able to turn my stereo system on, and the pop itself was like at 140/60. You know.
This using a switch itself will do that because that's usually
enough resistance.
Yeah, there's a timing issue with that, and this is expandable. And I did not finish the time delay module. That was an idea to plug into, but manually, just by triggering the switch, you can eliminate, depending on what is causing your turn on pop. Also, another thing, I remember having 8 amplifiers on one remote turn on of a head unit.
Yeah.
Some head units cannot handle that. Some can. So with this, you can have 30 amplifiers turning on from each channel, from one channel if you wanted. So because it's a relay, we actually use 20 amp relays, but then fuse it at 15 amps. So it's all protected, and remote turn on isn't enough to kill one of these relays.
Right. Yeah. I mean, remote turn on an amplifier is like a quarter of a amp, right?
Anywhere from 500 to 800 milliamps. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, you're not talking very much at all. That's 500 milliamps. That's half an amp. Right.
Right.
So,
and as an installer, I designed this with troubleshooting in mind. That's why there's status LEDs. There's onboard switches in case you have an amplifier not turning on. Is it my switch? Is it the fuse? What is it? So there's an onboard switch. You can just go to the back, turn that on, and see if it's activating right at the unit or not. So it helps you troubleshoot.
So just looking at your product, so he had it on the screen here for people that are listening back to the podcast. It's essentially black and silver, and it actually looks like the LEDs are possibly blue for it.
Well, on that
are they
one,
blue
they're
and red?
RGB.
Oh, so they're RGB. So they'll go blue if they're good, red if they're bad.
They're selectable. So what we found is we had a lot of people integrating them. It's used in, I think his name is Stephen Head, who won Texas Soundcuology a few years ago. A couple SoundQ competitors use it just to keep their wiring neat, clean, organized, and labeled. And if they want to match their install, we do offer color options on the acrylic cover. And then you could match the LED illumination to what you have in your car. So if you have red illumination, you can flip the switch to have the status LEDs be red. If you have blue illumination, flip another. It's a dip switch, a 3 pin dip switch. So that's what that is. And like I said, you can change the acrylic, so you can do, blue lights and red acrylic and make it look
so
like
is that
Spider-Man.
acrylic changed through you, or is that third party for the
That's
acrylic
through
change?
us. Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of the time what'll happen is our dealers and distributors, they'll order, 20 acrylic lenses of a variety of colors, whichever they think they would sell most of. And
Maybe their shop name on the acrylic or something like that.
sometimes, yeah, we have requests for like white labeling, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And we invite that kind of stuff. We're very into partnerships, and whatever we can do to kind of build those partnerships, we're happy to help. So actually, this in my hands right here, I think this might have been another reason why you had said marine, because this always made me think about those fuse blocks that you can get on Amazon.
Yep.
And they're like, made for marine, or so they say.
Yeah.
And so when we made this was kind of like the answer to the problem that I've always had, which, because I used to run much smaller systems. I'm an SQ guy, so my wire gauge wouldn't be what
You
his
don't run
was.
4 gauge for your speakers?
Well, we're talking the 90s, right? So it was even less so back then. I think I remember running 12 gauge to a sub and thinking that was way overkill.
In 1990, I ran light cords for speaker wires to my 15s for my Hyphonics 150 Odin. I'm just saying.
House wiring.
Yeah, the house wiring, the
absolutely.
thick copper.
Yes.
Yeah.
One side was copper and the other one was tin copper, right?
Well, at least you didn't run yours around the door jamb, so that every time.
Dude, I caught my car on fire like that. I shoved it under with a screwdriver. I start driving down the road, and all of a sudden there's just smoke pouring out of my freaking. I'm just saying, it may have
we're not
happened.
the only ones. All right.
And we all got to start somewhere, right? I mean, it takes a
Exactly.
while to develop the skills and know-how.
But I always was troubled by the small wires, having to run like a little, 18 gauge wire up to a big giant fuse block and
Yep.
sneak it in there and hope no one sees it. Kind of like put it underneath and hide it. So this is a smaller wire, smaller gauge wire,
a fuse
block.
distribution. And for people who can't see, we have, this is the FBX12, which is a 12 channel small wire fuse distribution box in the same footprint housing as our relay box.
And what's that footprint roughly? 4 inches by 4 inches.
Yeah, about 5.5 inches by 4.5 inches, somewhere around there. And about the thickness is maybe 1.5 inches tall.
So this is something that would fit like inside of a door panel,
You can
inside
do
of a
that,
door,
or if you're making like
in the bags in a motorcycle, maybe.
I'd want to show it off. I'd put
It
it on
does do that. Yeah, a lot of people put them in like the waterproof housings in their Razor.
Yeah.
The side by sides and all that. Or if you're just having a little access panel in your quarter panel, or under the spare tire area. But they're meant to be the same size in case you need to use them in conjunction. Okay. And if you're adding a lot of 12-volt accessories and need to tap in wire, another idea, and the reason it uses 4 gauge is because the PCB could only carry so much current.
Okay.
So we have 4 gauge power, 4 gauge ground, and it just distributes from there. Okay. But the idea is if you're adding a lot of accessories, instead of 3 months down the line, you go to add, well, if it's 1998, you're going to add a CD changer, but you don't have to find power wire, strip it back, and tap into it again. You already have this available, already fused. There's ground, there's constant, and there's switched capabilities.
So do you guys do anything with Bobby Gately?
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say this would fit from what you're describing and the intended use for this. This would fit into like almost all of Bobby Gately's designs because he does not. He is an artist. We did a show on here and we talked to him, and he's absolutely an artist. So what's gonna happen and what he's gonna deliver to the customer isn't known even to him necessarily when he starts. So something like that would be a huge time saver for him at the end, I would take it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He hasn't used this much. He's gotten a few things from us. I
Okay.
just sent him maybe a few weeks ago. We came out with a special edition. So we make a cooling fan
Oh yeah.
that
Mhm.
is designed in a profile to blow a curtain of air over an amplifier heat sink, so it's low, flat, and wide like that.
Okay.
And I made a special edition that used 6 motors. I did edge light acrylic and lit it up with RGB programmable by Bluetooth LEDs. And he bought one of those. I did send that to him. I don't know if he's using it in an install or just to have it for fun or whatnot. But he appreciates our stuff, and we definitely appreciate his stuff.
This is the
This is the smaller basic, not the special edition fan that I was just talking about. This
Right.
is a smaller.
That's a
single
single
motor.
fan, right?
This
Right.
is, and we call it Fanny Junior. There's a 2-motor version called Fanny.
Okay.
The big one was called our Big Fat Fanny. So this one is lit up with LEDs. It has a frosted acrylic under the black top, and so it does light up when it's powered on as a status, but it kind of looks cool too.
So what is the how loud are they? Because so like people are using boat fans.
Yeah, these are
Typically,
probably 15 to 20 dB lower than one of those C-Flow
Oh, okay.
fans.
Mm.
They're not quite. I mean, it's a fan, and it
Yeah.
chops up air, so it does make noise.
Yep.
But it is a little lower than some of those other fans out there. It's basically PC fan level. I
Got
would
you.
say. We do also make a fan speed controller, a manual speed controller with a knob,
Mhm.
and we make it with ports that will have, and we offer the cable that will plug directly into the port of the fannies, so
Uh-huh.
that or a universal output, so you could use it for other
Oh,
brands.
okay.
So if it is
Okay.
too loud, but it's a lot of airflow that you don't need, you can back the speed down and make it
So
quieter.
so that outlet right there, is that like
Yep,
a
that's a
12
DC
volt
plug.
DC
Yep.
plug?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're all 12-volt DC. You can have it on your own switch. You can have it on one of our relay boxes. If
Okay.
you had it on our speed controller, which is named Speedy,
Uh-huh.
then that in itself has its own control and remote turn on.
Okay, so now that we're talking car audio and putting this within a system, the issue is becoming less now with lithium, but how well do they perform? I mean, Moses Martinez, if he's on here, I know Stephen Talbot, their systems drop to 11.2, 11.1 voltage. How do they still perform at that, or that's when you start blowing fuses, or how does that work?
No fuses, just speed will be a little bit lower. They'll come on
Okay.
at about 5 volts.
Okay.
Their max speed, I mean, they'll go up to 20 volts and they'll just spin faster and faster.
Okay.
But the general fast speed is probably in the range of 9.5 to 10 volts up to 15-ish, 16-ish.
So it's not a regulated power supply on them at all. It's just whatever
No,
input in is power out, right?
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Now
That's
we
cool.
do have Speedy, and Speedy is a little bit of a different bear
Uh-huh.
because
That's pulse width
that's
modulation.
pulse width modulation. So that's
Okay.
going to control the speed a little bit differently, and that one, the lights on it will actually dim with the speed.
Okay.
And so will the fans themselves. So as everything slows down, it gets a little dimmer and then comes back up again.
So Tristan out of Bridgetown, Barbados, he's actually the one that hooked us up with you guys. He says that relay unit is really awesome, and he says these fans will be very great for amplifiers and battery stacking. So
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, the one thing we're looking to do with the fans, and this actually came as inspiration from
Mhm.
a show that we were at. We were walking by a system, and we heard the fans before we heard the system. Yeah.
Jet
Yeah,
engine.
that's-
Yes.
You don't
I
wanna
looked
hear
at
that.
I looked at Ed and I'm like, there's got to be a better way. We have to come up with something.
And it was painted orange, but it is the big round, ugly thing stuck
Yeah.
inside. And that's okay. Hey, they work. They blow a lot of
Yeah.
air.
They do blow
They're
a lot
not
of
too
air.
expensive.
Yep.
So if that works for you, do it.
Yep.
No fault there.
Well, what we've learned is, again, this comes from our taste and what we would want as as users, as installers, as competitors.
Yeah. So that option is there.
Yeah, everything you'll notice, and you can't really see it if you're listening to this. So we'll just say out loud that the design philosophy behind a lot of this stuff, pretty much all of it, is decorative. You know what I mean? It's like we want something that's going to be a piece of jewelry to show off in your vehicle, not something that you're going to want to hide away and just
Right.
hope that no one sees it. So that it's more of like for showing off a little bit more. Because if you're going to spend all this money doing a custom build, and Ed makes his point all the time, guys that we grew up with, that were competing, that had no money, they're now coming back and they have a lot of money and they're spending them on these huge, beautiful builds.
Scotty Owens, just saying.
Yeah. It's like this stuff should be made right for those vehicles.
Right, you're spending thousands of dollars on your Gately box. Why not have spend $100 on a fan that looks good to go with it?
Yeah.
So, kind of with that being said, then who would you say would be your ideal, like maybe consumer, like the average consumer, or more the high-end competitor, or just basically everyone?
There is a mixture. Depends on the product. Some of our stuff is geared towards competitors a little bit, but and we don't make some of the stuff that I really designed for competition, like Omi. That remotely switched between series and parallel wiring on woofers, but it looked beautiful. So it's the field. If you go to any show now, there's a huge field of people with demo vehicles,
right?
Especially here in California.
Yeah, and some of them look beautiful. And when I was in my height of SPL, not everything looked beautiful. Everything was bare MDF, and we were never finished.
So were you at that World Finals when Wayne Harris actually sent an email out to all the competitors saying, "Hey, can you guys at least, we have media coming, can you at least spray paint your boxes so it looks kind of
I do remember that. Yes.
Yes.
And 03 finals, I spent the time to paint my box.
It was about that 03, 05 time.
That might have been what it.
Please.
I rattle canned everything.
Yes.
And it looked decent.
At least rattle can it,
Right, exactly. But that is the thing. Some people want to have their presentation and their vehicle install look really good. Not everyone has the resources or skills to do so. But if they can buy product that looks good out of the box to fit into their install, that works out. So the average, when I was an installer and someone would come in for a 1500 watt amp and they just want it mounted to the back of the seat or something, that might not be the customer for some of our products, but we offer simple low cost voltmeters for that type of customer, little push button switches. We have switch panels, but also you can buy just a switch. So if that kind of customer wants them to monitor their battery voltage or add one switch to turn on their sub amp, we have stuff for them too. The things like Fanny or the relay box might be the step up. The bigger demo guy may be the competitor. We do have a lot of SPL guys use our switches and switch panels, especially I know Bo Boren uses our stuff.
He doesn't know what he's doing. He's not that loud anyway.
Scott Bowman actually uses our switches and voltmeters a lot when he makes those
the box of the
head unit boxes. Because it's great to turn on everything and read your voltage. So we have a range of products. We don't have a whole lot of SKUs out yet. We're still developing, but there is little things here and there for everyone.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, so those panels on your switch box there, so is that a customizable panel on the face of that too? So if I wanted to put Sonic FX on there and have my logo on that, you'd like laser etch them or whatever? Is that like one of the products you offer?
The one we're showing is not the typical one. This is something that we're actually going to be releasing soon that is aluminum. But our current ones, we use HDPE, which is marine board.
High density plastic, yeah.
Yep, and we make the insert where the actual switches are. We use acrylic because my design philosophy is multiple colors and textures. So we'll have a flat black base with a gloss black insert. but we also offer colors. So if your color's red, green, blue, whatever, we could use any color acrylic, and we engrave switch labels.
Okay.
Our basic is channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, channel 4,
Mhm.
but we have right through our website, someone could, type in what they want. They
So-
can write in, LEDs or amps or, whatever they want to.
So
And
that
now
right
we have
there
the option for artwork. You
is
can
that
upload your artwork.
is that watertight. So because right there, every boat in the world, I have a pontoon boat. Every boat that I see has a panel very similar to that,
Yes.
right?
These
So-
are marine grade switches and voltmeter.
Okay.
I think they're IP68, is it?
Well, the meters are IP68, switches are IP67.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the plate itself, this one's aluminum, the others are marine grade plastic. So
Yeah.
I mean, there's a connector that does cover the back, but the connector itself isn't sealed.
Yes. So what you would do, suggestion to you, if you did know you had a marine, this was going to a marine client, if you just put a double-sided foam tape on the perimeter,
Right.
You-
Just
yep.
wrap it around it.
yep,
Yeah.
you would get
We-
your watertight seal because it should be in a watertight box, right? The backside of that anyway.
Yeah.
So
And we've had some people do that like we don't know the marine market too well, and we're not really in it, but we have had a few people that do cars and boats
Mhm.
do that sort of thing. So that was kind of up to that particular installer.
Okay.
But it is something we can look into doing out of here.
I truly, in my opinion, like you said, you guys didn't envision this as a marine product, but I see obviously. So I live on a lake. At the end of my street is the Delta for California. So that just boats. Everybody I know around me, all my neighbors, everybody I know has boats. And
Wow.
I absolutely 100% see all of your products fitting within a boat niche so well. It just, and like I said, and originally when I was looking at it, I was thinking the small gauge wires. That's why I was thinking maybe boats. But the functionality and the look and the form of it just lends itself, the sizes and everything that you have lends itself so well to marine, not necessarily just marine audio, but marine install for lighting, for towers, stereo systems, and you
There
name
is a
it.
problem though. We'd have
Okay.
to paint everything white.
No, I don't know a single person that has any of that crap that's white. They all want it to light up and freaking blingy and do different
Yeah.
colors and all that stuff. All those guys do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And wet sound seems pretty like they've been growing a lot, so I guess it's
Yeah.
popular.
Tristan says, seems like Ed and Rich has everything you need for you, Doug. Let's get the
There you go.
first SPL boat hookup.
Hey.
So
there
I
we
will
go.
say a friend of mine did have a ski boat that he had. I don't even remember what, Champion or something like that, right? So it was just your standard ski boat, with the big old V-hull. And I went in there and I put a couple of 12s in the back of it. And he got a lot of complaints when he was on the lake.
Oh, I'd imagine
And he
so.
said that was awesome.
That is great.
So yeah, so I made a ported box for it, and I just put the port at an extreme angle down, so the port was facing almost into the hull of the boat, and it was facing up, so if water did splash, it wouldn't go into the box. Rhino lined the inside of the box. Actually made the box itself as a rear seat, and then put a nice solid. I custom welded with pencil rod a speaker grill so that they wouldn't put their foot through it, So, but yeah, that was a pretty cool little install I did in his boat, and he annoyed a lot of people on the lake with that.
But you can use subwoofers that basically the cone is waterproof. So
Yes.
Rich and I did.
Oh yeah, I
YouTube
did the
videos.
Sony ones. I did the Sony
Oh,
Explodes.
okay.
Oh, the explodes.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
we used an Infinity. I've used the DAD audio. So we have a video where
Type
we
R's are good.
waterproofed an enclosure and we submerged a woofer and enclosure into his bathtub.
Oh,
and played it and just
Yeah, if you guys
Like
want to know a
sonar.
little bit more about our failed history of trying different business ventures, that's one of them. It's called Sounds Fun. It was a mini series. We only did 5 parts. We were supposed to do 6,
yeah.
and they're on his YouTube channel, Spark Dead.
They're on my Spark Dead channel.
Yeah, it's hard to find them because they never got really, really popular the way we hoped they would. But we
Right.
spent a lot of money and time.
But if you want to see 2 guys sitting on top of a totally sealed enclosure that was bobbing up and down because of the air inside, so it was floating, but we were trying to push it down to get the cone of the woofer submerged.
Yeah.
And then all the water just spraying everywhere because it was flexing so much. It was great. If you want to see that kind of stuff, then you can check that out.
Yeah.
Josh T.W.I.C.A, sorry. He's popping in here, says, how's it going? What's up, everybody? He's actually designing a product right now. I don't want to say much about it until he actually releases it. But Josh, if you're coming late to this thing, you may want to talk to these guys, Ed and Rich. I believe the 2 of your products can interact with each other in a very good way. So,
cool.
Send Rich a message.
Yeah. So Josh is out of Reno, Nevada. Where are you guys located at anyway?
We're Philadelphia.
Philly.
Yeah.
Go Eagles.
But do you guys have cheesesteak out there?
Well, that's the big misnomer. Everybody thinks that the best Philly cheesesteaks are Pat's and Geno's.
Nah.
But there's so many.
Mama's by my
There's
house.
there's so many different really, really good cheesesteaks out there in Philly.
If you go there and it looks like the health inspector got paid off, then that's
the one you go to.
That's when.
Absolutely. Josh says, friend request me, bro. Where would they see you on Facebook if they wanted to friend request you, Rich Ned?
Sparked Innovations.
Sparked Innovations is
on
the
Facebook.
best. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go, Josh.
Yeah, we're very responsive, and we're also, like I said in the very beginning, we're big on partnerships. Barnaby Lang from Lang Fabrication. He uses our switches and meters, and we, go back and forth with product ideas, and we always try to find something that we can do together. I actually reached out to Gately one time, and I said, "Hey, what if we made our switch panels out of wood, and then like stain them the colors of your boxes, and then we came out with like a Gately line." It never went anywhere, but just it's just like the kind of brainstorming that we do,
right?
Because we're very collaborative, and we love the car audio industry, and so we just want to see it thrive. So however we can help make that happen,
that's 100% what this show's about too, right? Jeffrey and I, we don't make nothing off this show essentially. We ask for sponsors, we ask for guys to throw tips our way, whatever. But other than that, we just want to see the car audio scene grow, and we want to show people, as I told you, we want to show people it's not just the car audio that brings us together. You gain friends. I mean, you and Ed, through car audio have expanded your friendship, exponentially. Yeah. And the people that you meet that are in this industry and come to these shows and come see you at CES or SEMA or whatever like that is, those friendships are definitely something special. When was I ever going to meet a short Asian guy that's actor, right?
Or we would have known, Rich here was a metal drummer, right?
That's right.
So
yeah, right.
there's probably somebody listening in right now is like, hey, I need a drummer. I'm in this metal band.
We
never know.
We did have the guy from Mecca, right? Steve Stearns. Wasn't he a guitarist?
Yeah,
he actually came on playing the guitar one time.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, Steve Stearns. He's in a couple of bands and whatnot. We actually had to switch. We had to switch our the podcast he was going to be on because he had a gig that night, so we had to move it because he had a gig.
No, you're 100% right. The connections that we've just gotten, organically over the years. You end up meeting these people that want to give you a leg up however they can. You know what I mean? And
we formed business partnerships with people I used to compete with because I competed with them. Scotty Johnson, Jonathan DeMuth, and
Yeah.
Jacob Fuller and Nick Wright.
yeah,
Yep.
people that I knew through DB Drag turned into have various business partnerships over the years. So
Yeah, and they're always like, you pick their brain about something because they're already where you want to be. Like, you start asking them questions and stuff, and then like you realize like, oh my God, why didn't I think of that? And
Right.
the camaraderie and the willingness to help. Like, I mean, it really makes me proud to be in the industry. I've been in different jobs and careers over the years in different industries, and sometimes you get people that are just crap talkers and they want to just put everybody else down and that's not what we're about at all. And so I'm really pleased with the climate of what I've seen so far. I do see other people complaining that it's not the way it used to be in the 90s, but
Right.
We are now, and we talk about this, we try to remember that we are now the influencers that we looked at the adults, way back when we were competing.
You're them now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I try to explain to people too, is when you start talking about the good old days, you are now that generation that has to create the good old days for the next people.
Yep.
So it is on us as veteran judges, competitors, and people in the industry to create those same memories and the same desires to be part of the car audio community. That's 100% on us. And that's, like I said, that's part of the reason we do this podcast. We want to see that grow. We want to introduce people to people like you and Ed, Rich. Jonathan DeMuth, Jacob Fuller. We want to introduce these people so that they can see. And I will tell you, one thing I've found about the car audio industry is there's not a lot of dumb people in it. There are some really smart people involved in the car audio industry. Way smarter than they should. They shouldn't be in. They're dumb in that they're still they're in car audio, but they are some smart guys that know a lot of stuff. And if you just sit back and listen to them, you can learn so much stuff.
I completely agree. Yeah.
So, I truly. So like I sat down for like 5 years in a row at CES. You guys know who Robert Zeff is?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I've never met him, but you hear the name.
So I just sat down and listened to Robert Zeff tell me about how he designs an amplifier and why he does this and why he does that. I couldn't even have paid at a college to get the education I got from that guy in just a few sit downs with him, right?
Yep.
The guy, remember the RNS red lines?
Oh yeah.
Remember that line? Okay, so that guy actually came out of right here where I live, and he's the one that actually, he's the one who started the Bose stuff. They actually came to his booth, the RNS Redline booth at CES, bought his system, took it over to their booth, and put Bose on it, and sold it. And so that whole Bose system is that guy from RNS Redline. And he said, the Bose told him, says, go ahead and sue me. And by the time he was done suing him, the lawyer got all the money. And Bose got the recognition and the name, so it doesn't even matter. It didn't matter to them, right? And so I sat down with that guy for like 4 hours one day, and the way he was talking about designing boxes and this and that was just, he was so far ahead of where we are, his thought process. We had Steve Deckert is? Deckert?
I know Deckert.
Steve Deckert, the Deckware Death Box and the Wicked one.
Yeah.
Remember those? So we had him on here a couple of weeks ago, and and we talked to him, and he wasn't even in car audio, and he starts developing. He's like, oh, if you did this with the subwoofer, if you did this with the box, and next thing you know, he's developing all this stuff that we take for granted nowadays. And it's awesome.
Yeah, especially that you'd say we take for granted. I mean, the technology had to start somewhere.
Yes.
It's very hard to come up with anything new now, but there still are people. I know Jacob Fuller, incredibly intelligent, like all around intelligence. And if you ever talk to him on a outside of a show, like in a more social setting, he'll talk about who he looks up to, Dan Wiggins.
Mm.
speaker and subwoofer design.
I know
And
Dan.
yeah, and he says his mind gets blown from this guy,
Yeah.
and while Jacob Fuller's blowing other people's minds. So
Yeah.
it's like a trickle down of mind.
Wasn't Dan like the El Toro subs or something about a bull?
I think
Brahma.
I think El Toro.
Brahma.
He do the a Dyer audio.
Yeah, but I think his subwoofer was the Brahma by a Dyer. Yeah.
And maybe the Tumult or something.
Yeah,
like that,
something like that.
with,
Yeah.
With
So,
all the specialty coil top plate design, and you'll see
Yeah.
the shape of it. It's really cool. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And then
So,
going back to high school, I had
Yeah.
my EPX2 with the E28D card, and every time we turned it on, it would say designed by Wayne Harris or engineered by
Something
Wayne
like
Harris.
that.
oh yeah.
You know, and it was like
And then
I never thought I'd meet the guy. You know what I mean? Let alone have him like actually take an interest and like talk to me for an extended period of time, and
Yep.
like it's like wait a second, like you're supposed to be unreachable. Like this is
Mhm.
amazing.
Yeah.
And not just talk to him about it, and then he shrugs you off. It's like,
No.
okay, cool. You go to walk away, and then he's like, oh, but another thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not only that, but he's gonna look at your product and go, well, why can't you do this with it, right? And it's not like and he's not looking to get a piece of the pie or anything. He's like, hey, I see this product just like I'm telling you. I see this product as a marine audio. He's like, well, I see this product. If you add LEDs like this, or you put an array of this on there, you're gonna see this stuff. And
Yeah.
I mean, Wayne's totally about that kind of stuff. He's
Oh,
really
yeah.
cool
Yeah.
with that stuff.
He likes to share, so that.
He
Oh,
stopped
yeah.
by
Yeah.
he stopped by our booth at sundown, and I'm like giving him a presentation. I'm kind of nervous, you know. He's giving me, he's like really listening to what I'm saying, and then he kind of gave me a few little suggestions and stuff,
Yeah.
and then moved on. But that kind of crap, it's like, oh man, this is great.
Yeah. Well, that was a big reason I had Steve Deckert on here the other day, because he was one of the guys that inspired me to design speaker boxes. With the Wicked one, me and Don Hebig both, right? DB Don.
Oh,
we,
yeah, I love
we
that.
were. Don's been on here a bunch of times. He's a good friend of mine. I helped him out with Beyond Audio when he started that. I was really pushing his product for him and helping him work. I was working with him on design stuff and whatnot, So, but yeah, just both DB Don and myself, Steve Deckert. The thoughts and the process that he went through is really what inspired us to do the designs. I mean, because I was building a 6th order a bandpass wall back in 2001, and nobody was doing it then. And
Did
that
it work
was
well back then.
so the problem was is I was because I didn't know, right? I was trial and error, right?
Yeah.
I was peaking at 17 hertz. So
Yeah.
I was doing 147 with 1200 watts at 17 hertz, which is an incredible number.
That's the thing. There's so much advancements. Like I was using MTX, I think 8000s back in like 1999 or
Which-
something. Maybe it was 2000.
But they
I had a
said
fourth order.
8,000, but they were 1,000 watts.
Yeah. But that
What?
whatever the number was.
Yeah, they're
And,
81,000s. They're 8100s or 81,000s.
I don't know if I blew any of them though. But I was
Yeah.
low power, and I had a 4th order bandpass wall.
Yep.
I thought it was ahead of its time, but I was doing mid 140s, so no one paid attention to it. I mean, what are you going to do with a 600 watt amp? So,
Right.
you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like me, I told people this on this show more than once. I had a '58 Pontiac that I built, and I had a wall of some 12s in there. I was doing 156s with 1,200 watts in
On
a wall
56 Pontiac?
on a
Is that what you-
56 Pontiac. Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
It's
That's
just
huge.
hey, I love old cars. I love stereo systems. So I put them
Yeah.
together. I actually had no, sorry, it was a '58 Pontiac. I bought the '56. I started to tear it apart because I got it at a great deal. It was actually in a farmer's field. It was actually a barn find, literally. And so I started putting it together, I was getting ready to tear it down, and I look online, and I'm like, I'm just curious if this car has value. And I look it up, fully restored, it was worth like $112,000. And I'm like, I am not going to turn this into a base machine that's 112. So I actually sold it to somebody that was in a Pontiac car club. He came and bought it from him for like $1,200 or something. And I sold it to him cheap because I knew what his intentions were with the vehicle, right?
Yeah.
And then in that, I took that $1,200. I bought me a 58 Pontiac, which was, dude, so big. And I put a wall in the back of that. That thing fully restored was like $3,900. Perfect SBL vehicle, right?
There you go.
And dude, that was such a fun car. I mean, I had 47 cubes in my wall. So,
Are there pictures on your page or anything about that?
You know what? If you look up Star Chief, Chieftain, Booming Chieftain on Sound Domain or Car
Yeah.
Domain, you'll see a ton of pictures of it.
I haven't been on there in a while, but
Me either, but they're still there. I looked them up like a couple months ago.
who was it Danny Hayes? Someone used like a 50s panel van.
Dude, it wasn't Danny. It was his whole family.
Oh, it was a family affair.
It-
But
it-
was an
100%.
extreme class with
It was
Yes.
in extreme too.
Yes,
so
it was
Yeah.
Danny, his mom, and his dad. And they
Oh,
and they
right.
all together went to CES. They went to the shows together, and
Ah.
if I could find him again, I would
Yeah.
love to have him on the show just to talk about, because it truly was a family thing for them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Check it out. I mean, it would be cool to have. I know Brantley Waits actually messaged me. This is someone, a hero from back in the day when I was in the mid '90s. I was in high school.
Uh-huh.
I started competing when I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that eventually I would make a YouTube video about Sir Mega Stroker, and Brantley Waits would message me, say, "Hey, that's pretty cool, man," and blah blah blah. And so,
Yeah.
like, "Hey, I have your magazine still. I have a stack
Yeah.
over there, of that sort of thing." But it would be cool to have, maybe you have had him on.
No,
I
we have not. We've had Sorrentino on.
Oh,
Um, Dude,
great drinking buddy.
yes. We've had a lot of the old school guys on, just because it's, to me, it's important to understand where you came from. You don't know where you're going until you know where you came from, right?
Yeah.
And I think I've explained that well enough to you guys and everybody on here that this show's not about just the SPL stuff. It's, to be a giant, you had to have stood on somebody's shoulders.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And there's people that were giants back then that are trying to help out still.
Absolutely.
So they're around. They might not be super active, but they're active enough.
Yep.
You can pick their brain or whatever it is. They've been there, done that. Maybe use some of that experience.
Yep.
And or just to chat and relive old moments.
Yeah.
Tim Maynard is another one that I met him, and it was I was like, man, like you're a lot different than I would have expected, but hey, it was a good moment. I had him in one of my vehicles a few years ago, and he tapped out when I gave him a demo. I was like, hey, Tim Maynard, tap out. That was awesome.
I remember chasing Art Turgeon like
we had him on.
And I would have my camera. I'm like chasing him down to get a picture of him as he's got his arm and leg in the vehicle because he doesn't have it, and he's trying to get this thing moving.
And he used the
and I'm trying to get pictures of him, that kind of thing.
We had Art
on the
Sounds
gate,
on
same
here.
thing.
How long ago? Probably like 6-7 weeks ago. Probably no. It was right before World Finals.
It was before finals.
Yeah, we had Art Sounds on here. So we had that was good. Yeah. Danny Britton's been threatening to come on here and there. We've had Scott Owens. We had Norass on here.
Chris Norris.
Chris Norris.
Chris is doing his paint shop. I was there when he was building his paint shop up in Indiana. He built this whole super high tech paint booth facility, and he does amazing work with that. So I guess he's not an SPL competitor, but he's still in the car customization world.
The van he built is like
that's
his
RP
vehicle. It's RP.
Yeah.
So he did the paint job on that too. So
they kept
he's
it.
got his hands in every little every little thing. So
all
right,
good guy,
we all are.
Hey Jeffrey, we've hit our hour.
Real quick.
Yes, sir.
I just thought we have one product, our flagship that we still haven't talked about.
Oh, let's get that
I
in there real quick.
I kind of wanted to keep it for last.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
do we even have a sample here?
No.
Okay, so we this product has been so popular
Okay.
that we sold out within minutes.
Wow.
All the dealers and distributors just took everything, and then when they released it, they sold out right away as well.
Well, that's good.
So we are in the process of getting production ramped up again. All of our parts are hopefully coming at the end of this month. It's called the Conductor. Okay, it
Okay.
is an all-in-one ground distribution and ammeter up to 1,000 amps. It'll read up to 1,000 amps.
Okay.
So it has 4 0-aught or 1-aught, sorry, in the for the screw terminals, and then on the side it has the lug style. So you got a total of 8 in and 8 out, and then there's a remote display that comes up to the dash or wherever you want to mount it. 18 feet of cable, and that will read up to 900. It'll display up to 999 amps. And the basic idea is you have a voltmeter, you should have an ammeter too, because you're only getting told half the story.
So is this something that you could put on top of a bank of lithium then?
You can, yeah. If you want to read your current going in to your bank from the alternator, you could do that, and you could have another one reading how much each amplifier pulls. If you
Each
want to do
amp's drawing. Okay.
Yeah.
Or
That
collectively all the amps,
Right.
or
Yeah,
all the alternators.
Depends on the level, the power.
Yeah, however you want to monitor it. But
Oh.
that's one of the things that guys are, they're monitoring voltage. It's like, yeah, but why is that happening? What kind of current? And that's another thing too, is if you know the numbers that you're normally seeing when the bass hits in this certain song, your voltage usually goes to this number.
Yep.
And that's kind of how you tell the health. Well, if you started learning that about amperage as well, and then if something ever changed, this is drawing a whole lot more than it normally does, that might be a sign that something's starting to go wrong.
Yes, sir.
Excessive amperage in or out. You know what I mean? How fast are your batteries being charged?
Yeah.
And especially if it's lithium. I mean, charge rate and all that kind of stuff. So, if you're spending tens of thousands of dollars on your big system build, this is an insurance policy. This is a way to monitor the health and prevent a problem before
And
it
it's
happens.
cool.
Yeah, and it's really cool. Yeah.
We like cool shit.
Yes.
All right, Jeffrey, you want to hit him with the
Yes.
question, sir?
Okay. So I'll ask the both of you. Basically, it's a question that we ask all of our guests. It's basically we want to know what is your definition of a bass head?
First. Answer separate or together?
No, I think separate because
Two separate.
yeah, he comes from the competition scene.
Yeah.
I'm coming from the hobbyist, kind of like watching what he's doing. So for me, a bass head would be someone that just absolutely loves sound pressure as it exists inside of a vehicle, likes to experiment with it, and just can never get enough of it.
Okay. So for me, a bass head, like myself, someone that gets fulfillment out of building and then enjoying the fact that a 12-inch piece of paper can rattle windows at a distance.
There you go.
And so part of that is the creative side of actually making it do that and the technology behind it. But then also, I used to be the one that would drive around actually listening to test tones. So they say, you don't listen to test tones.
Yeah.
Like,
No one's ever admitted that before.
So we do that. So that is, that's a bass head.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah.
All right, guys. So how do people get a hold of you? What's the best way? What's your website? So you check out your products and stuff like that. Rich?
That would be sparkedinnovations.com. SPARKED. So in the past, it's sparked. And then innovations with an S at the end. Same thing on Facebook, same thing on Instagram, same thing on YouTube. We are on Twitter and TikTok, not as active there, but we are very hyper responsive through Instagram and Facebook and email as well. If you want to get the technical side of things, you want to write ed@sparkedinnovations.com. And if anything sales, marketing, business, that would be rich@sparkedinnovations.com. And yeah, we really try to get back to people as soon as possible, and we're pretty good about it. So let's start a conversation.
Awesome. Jeffrey, you got a couple 3Xs coming up. I see them over your shoulder.
Yeah.
You know, Moses is going to be unhappy with you guys, but tell us real quick what you got.
Moses said he's going to be at one of them. So
okay, cool. Oh, that's
yeah,
right.
He's actually sponsoring the.
That's right.
the one, but so yeah, again this Sunday, Crossfire Car Audio, in Grapevine, Texas. We're going to have another triple point event. You guys, more than welcome to come check out the base race and top dog action because it's been heating up the past few months. Roger's, dishing out the he's dishing out the $100 to the I guess the base race class. That's most exciting. So just come for that. We also just on the calendar today, Saturday, April 1st in sunny California. I'm going back to California for the show. Bloomington Cali. Specifically. Yeah, Gorilla Hertz and Friends. I say Gorilla Hertz and Friends because it's a collective of SPL teams that are putting in to basically keep the scene alive down there in SoCal. So yeah, head on out. One of the guys says, hey, coming out for demos and tacos, you won't be disappointed.
Nope. And for me, my next show right now is April 9th, which is going to be a wedding show. We're going to have Sean and Janet Kent are going to do Renewing Their Vows at the event there, April 9th at Nyman Shop. Then after that, we got Autorama, which is the 29th and 30th of April. That's a big show. If you guys get an opportunity, come see that. Where else do you guys, I mean, even with SBN, so you guys aren't aware of this, but Autorama out here in California, they stick us right at the front gate, so everybody has to walk by, and they gate 30,000 people over the weekend for that. Wow. And so you got 30,000 people going to have to walk by your vehicle and check out your stuff at this event. It's really cool part thing. We have usually close to 100 entries at the event for car audio. So like I said, if you guys want to check it out, Autorama is freaking awesome. And like I said, obviously come support us or support Janet and Sean Kent renewing their vows on April 9th. That'll be at Nyman Shop. They asked me to run a ceremony for them. We'll do that right before we go to brackets. So yeah.
Don't you have to be ordained or something like
They're
that?
Already married. They're already married.
I thought you were going to take some online class and then, you're going to.
No, I almost did, but I forgot that they're already married, so I don't need to do all that crap. I'm too lazy to get online and do something like that. Anyway, guys, if you find it in your hearts and you want to support my sister-in-law's family, she was a stay-at-home mom. Like I said, she had 3 kids at home. She was supporting, passed away young at 44 years old. You can go to there and click on the Sonic FX page. Click on the, what's that called? The GoFundMe. And support her family if that's what you guys are into. Also want to thank our sponsors again, Crossfire Car Audio, Puns Customs. For without them, that they help keep us on the air, paying for simple things like our paying for our YouTube, our Zoom meeting cost, and just basic cost to keep operating this thing all the time. There's a lot of work that goes into this to keep it on, just so you guys can be entertained and hear about things going on in the car audio industry. All right, guys. Well, I got to go take old people's money again. I did pretty good at it this weekend. I averaged 241 for 12 games, so not horrible. I bowl, in case you
Wait, so when you say old people...
Yeah, they're older than me.
Because
I'm a senior now, so I get to bowl senior stuff, so I get to take all the senior money. So
exactly. I'm going. You were a senior.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah. So
and speaking of, to our viewers and listeners, you just celebrated a birthday not too long ago, right?
Saturday. Saturday was my 50th birthday.
You guys can get in the comments and then wish Doug a happy birthday. That'd be awesome. It would mean the world to him.
But yeah, now I get to take old people's money, so I'm after their AARP checks and stuff.
Oh no.
So, all right, guys. Hey, once again, thank you for coming and tuning in. Thank you for listening to us. I really appreciate you, Ed, Rich. Hope you had a good time there.
Yes.
Jeffrey, as always, you did a great job. Remember, next week, Jeffrey's going to be here with the other judges, answering any judging questions and whatnot about DB drag. I won't be here. I'll be at the funeral. So, guys, tune in again next week at 5:30 p.m. California time. Even though Jeffrey's running it, it's still the only time that matters. We will see you guys next week on This Week in Car Audio. We out.